Clark County Today is presented by Cano Real Estate. Hire an agent, get a team. Learn more by visiting canorealestate.com.
Hey everyone, happy Thursday to you. I'm Chris Brown. We're going to start with some breaking news this evening. Clark County Public Health has confirmed they are investigating another COVID-19 outbreak, this time at Pacific Crest Building Supply in Ridgefield. 5 employees at that business have tested positive, according to a release from the county this afternoon. The Building Industry Association of Clark County also said they are working with Pacific Crest to address the outbreak and implement any necessary safety improvements. Now, earlier today, Public Health said there had been 3 newly confirmed COVID-19 cases, none of which are connected to the Firestone Pacific Foods packing plant in Vancouver, which has led to 132 confirmed cases of COVID-19 since the first employee tested positive there on May 16th. Now, many of the Firestone employees have since finished their quarantine period, and the company is hoping to reopen this week. It wasn't immediately clear if any of the new cases from Pacific Crest Building Supply are included in the current total. Clark County is still waiting for a response from the state to their renewed Phase 2 application sent on Tuesday. We'll have to wait a little while longer to see if this outbreak might impact that Phase 2 application. A 31-year-old Vancouver woman is facing charges of not 1 but 2 hit and runs on Wednesday evening, both of which injured pedestrians. The first happened just after 8 p.m. when police responded to Northeast Andreessen Road and Mill Plain Boulevard. They found a male pedestrian with serious but not life-threatening injuries, and then 3 minutes later, police say Trista Egley ran her car onto the sidewalk at General Anderson Avenue and East 18th Street, striking a female pedestrian before again driving away. The victim was transported to an area hospital with life-threatening injuries. Egley was arrested a short time later and booked in the Clark County Jail on 2 charges of vehicular assault and 1 charge of driving under the influence. Well, the price tag for unemployment fraud in Washington state has risen to as much as $1 billion. Now, that's up from an earlier estimate of $350 million, according to Senator Ann Rivers, who says her office was notified of the updated number by the Employment Security Department on Wednesday. Our friend Ernie Geigenmiller at Lacamas Magazine first reported the story and spoke with Rivers, who said a series of security breaches in recent years has led to the widespread fraud. This past year, Rivers was the Senate Republican lead on the data privacy bill, which passed unanimously in the Senate but was blocked in the House. And that bill would have locked down the state's consumer data to prevent hacking, requiring 2-factor authentication, amongst other security measures. The Senate Republicans have called for a special legislative session in June, and Rivers says the firing of ESD Director Susie Levine will be high on her priority list. The annual Clark College Foundation alumni meeting was held remotely on Wednesday due to the COVID-19 pandemic, which was also the topic for their keynote speaker. Alexis Madrigal, who is a Clark College graduate from 20 years ago, detailed his work for the Atlantic Magazine's COVID tracking project, which aims to hold states accountable with their COVID-19 case data, as well as shedding light on the disparities in ethnic minority communities when it comes to the virus and the healthcare industry. Madrigal said he believes the virus will continue to be a major topic for the rest of the year, and his team of over 100 volunteers plans to continue seeking data about viral antibody tests for every state in the union. The racial unrest going on in our community right now prompted Union High School senior Isaiah Jones to wonder on Twitter why society can't replicate a football team, with all walks of life coming together for a common goal. And that prompted reporter Paul Valencia to reach out to Isaiah, along with 3 other young African-American leaders in the community, to get their perspective on what's happening in our nation.
This week, I met with a few young African-American leaders in our community. They wanted to share their experiences with you. These are just a handful of clips. For a more extended video and for a story, please visit clarkcountytoday.com.
It is also important to note that in the same way that not all cops are bad because one cop has committed a murder, that not all black people are bad because a few have committed crimes. Not all Middle Easterns are terrorists because a few have committed terrorist acts. Not all Latinos are criminals because a few have committed crimes. And not all white people are racist because a few are racist. Use the same logic that you apply to the police force to people that you meet every day in your life. Try to stay away from prejudice and stereotypes, and instead look to people as human beings and not generalizations.
everybody should be speaking up right now. Everybody should be supporting the Black Lives Matter movement. American lives are being taken, and I think that America can do a way better job at handling this situation in supporting Black lives. So I was a part of the state championship team with Union football 2 years ago when we won the state championship. We all worked together as a team, as a unit. We all worked together towards the same goal. We didn't care what you looked like, where you came from, what you believed, or what you thought. We just worked together towards the same goal and accomplished the state championship. So I think that if society can, copy the same mentality, that we can work together, doesn't matter what you look like, what you believe, where you come from, work together towards the same goal, which is success.
Things that you can do to help, first off, is to register to vote and make sure that you're voting in all your local, state, and nationwide elections. The next thing you can do is you can donate or sign petitions that help Black Lives Matter and other minority causes. The next thing that you can do is just be mindful of what you are thinking and saying when you are interacting with people of color, LGBTQ, and other minorities.
In the world we live in now, there's just a lot of hate going back and forth between both parties, and I feel like if everyone calms down and actually talks about their opinions rather than argue them, a lot of situations would go a lot smoother.
All right, thank you so much for that report, Paul. We appreciate it. Well, the death of George Floyd has prompted reaction from many elected officials, including Clark County Sheriff Chuck Atkins. In a public letter on Wednesday, Atkins said he was sickened when he watched what happened to Floyd. The 40-year law enforcement veteran said he could not and would not attempt to justify the actions of the officers involved in Floyd's death on May 25th. And while saddened, Atkins says he was encouraged by the impact Floyd's death has had on the community, which law enforcement officers, he said, take an oath to protect. Atkins maintains that no one hates a bad cop more than the hardworking, honest cop that is putting their life on the line daily for their communities. You can read more of Sheriff Atkins' comments at clarkcountytoday.com. And of course, we welcome you to share your own thoughts about what is happening in our country and our community. You can do that by following us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just please keep it civil. The civil rights debate and the ongoing pandemic are presenting both challenges and opportunities for Clark County homeless outreach groups. That was part of the takeaway from a virtual Q&A held Wednesday to break down the 2020 homeless point in time count, which we told you about last week. Now, the driving factors behind the area homelessness crisis include a lack of affordable housing, high rates of mental illness, and challenges with shelter space, as well as drug and alcohol addiction. The data also shows that homelessness disproportionately impacts minority communities. You can read more of the analysis by heading over to the full story at clarkcountytoday.com. Well, Vancouver Lake Park may be open, but the water is off limits. Elevated levels of E. coli bacteria prompted Clark County Public Health to close the lake's swimming area, and anyone fishing there is advised to avoid contact with the water and thoroughly clean that catch. Ingesting E. coli can cause serious gastrointestinal illnesses. That includes vomiting and diarrhea. And Public Health will continue to monitor the water and reopen the swimming area once E. coli levels are safe. Water in the park restrooms and shelters at Vancouver Lake is not affected and remains safe to use. And finally this evening, Furry Friends, a nonprofit cat adoption and rescue group in Vancouver, has been helping save homeless and abused cats throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, but now they need some help from the community. Furry Friends is looking for a volunteer veterinary technician to work with the cats at its facility. Now, that person could donate as many or as few hours as they desire and only would be required to be consistent. For more info on this opportunity, as well as the required qualifications, head over to clarkcountytoday.com. And there's your check of the stories we're following for you at Clark County Today. Be sure to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Share us with your friends and family. Our content is always free and updated daily. Hey, if you have story ideas, feedback, or maybe just an attaboy, shoot us an email to news@clarkcountytoday.com. For all of us, I'm Chris Brown. Thanks so much for watching. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.